And it was to Uitenhage, the Eastern Cape, close to the headquarters of Volkswagen South Africa, that we went for the start of the fourth round of the South African Rally Championships. And Mayor Bokkie Human was flagging off 47 of the original 51 cars that were entered for this event on a very cold, wet and chilly night. And one notable absentee was Nick de Waal and Guy Hotz in the four-wheel drive Toyota. They had mechanical troubles just before the start and were sidelined from the event. 22 special stages in all, and the tough rally was starting to take its toll already. Johan Evertse had an upright go on his Volkswagen Golf, and he, after 9 stages, was out of this rally as they got to the Algoa circuit. But the pressure was certainly on the leaders. Cyril van der Merwe, leading by just 35 seconds, was ahead of Serge Damse as they took the Algoa circuit in the reverse direction. But Serge Damse knew what was required of him. He was really pressing on, and he knew that there was a tough day ahead of them tomorrow. And Serge had just done very well in a rally in Scotland. And there was even more excitement with some of these hard-trying competitors trying to take out our cameraman. So as they went into day 2, Cyril van der Merwe in the lead with the pressure on him, and just behind Serge Damse in second place with Vita Bonafide was Hannes Trobler and Piet Swanepoel. They were 28 seconds behind as they started the 10th stage at the Ford Test Track. Closing up on them, Glenn Gibbons and Peter Cuffley, they were in the C-Class Toyota. Eric Saunders and Thiele van Westenhagen were there as well, and they were just a few seconds behind. And Nuno de Cunha and Paul Rouillard from Middelburg in the Transvaal were in 6th position in the big Nissan Skyline. But the conditions, very muddy at this stage, as they were to be during the rest of the day. There'd been rain in the region, and the roads, although very fast, were tough, and we're going to take it out of gearboxes and transmissions. And here was Eric Saunders and Thiele van Westenhagen looking very good in a C-Class 1600cc Toyota Conquest and loving it as well. But disaster for the Toyota team. They'd already lost Nick de Waal and Guy Hotson, but Serge Damse and Vita Bonafide and Glenn Gibbons and Peter Cuffley were sidelined at the Ford Test Track. And Volkswagen, of course, had already lost Johan Evertse and Steve Harding during the night. But Hannes Trobler in 3rd position was pressing on strongly. His teammate Jannie Hubbeck and Douglas Judd had also lost something like 10 minutes during the night, and they were having to fight their way through the pack. But there's one of the favourites of South African rally crowds, the big Nissan Skyline, this time Nuno de Cunha and Paul Rouillard, their Middelburg team, looking very good and sounding very nice as well. And down in the field, the privateers were carrying on at a great rate of knots. Spotty Woodhead, Springbok Navigator, has now taken to racing and rallying his car as a driver, and he's putting up a very credible performance indeed. And you can see the speed, and you can see the condition of the roads as they hurry through stages like Grasmere, like Elandsriver, Wincanton, Oranjezicht and Hilwacht. Nice names and nice new stages in this rally. Hannes Trobler looking very good indeed. Ahead of him, he's now in 2nd position with the demise of Serge Damse and Vita Bonafide. He was chasing after Cyril van der Merwe. But Cyril had that cushion of over a minute, was looking very good as they went up to the Elandsriver stage. But down the field, they were certainly pressing on. Number 15 is Enzo Kuhn leading the South African Rally Championship with Johan Seeling. It's a Pretoria team, and this youngster, only 20 years old, is really showing some of the older hands what rallying is all about. And here's another favourite in South African rally. It's Glyn Hall and Martin Botha going very well, but during the night they had a gearbox going in. They changed it in just 18 minutes, and they were fighting up through from the middle of the pack. But disaster was ahead for the Volkswagen team. The leader in the rally, Cyril van der Merwe and Frans Boshoff, were sidelined with suspension trouble and were out, and Hannes Trobler was on a roll. He knew that he was in the lead. He's been followed by his teammate Nuno de Cunha, and Hannes Trobler was pressing on just as hard as that 16-valve Nissan Sentra could go. And as the competitors regrouped at lunchtime at Dirk Ellis Motors in Humansdorp, there were just those 8 stages to go. The Nissans leading 1st and 2nd, Grobler and de Cunha. 3rd was Enzo Kuhn going very well in that 1600 Toyota. Then Eric Saunders closing on him. He'd been suffering from a misfire with a loose wire. That had been cured. Then came the husband and wife team of Skalk and Sue Berger. And as competitors headed for Jeffreys Bay through the stage Grasmere, the heat was really on the competitors. You could feel the tension. There were just those 8 stages to go, and it was going to be a very rough afternoon. And some very scenic stages here down next to Jeffreys Bay, but the competitors had no time to be looking around. As we see Piazza Musso and Gillian Tarleton hard at work. That car's been rebuilt twice during this rally season, 2 very serious offs, and you can see how narrow this road is and just how dangerous it is as we go alongside the water. One wheel going wrong, and there's going to be another serious crash in this car. They're going very well. They're lying 3rd in Class B in this Volkswagen Golf. And here once again is a race within a race. These 2 youngsters, just 20 years old, Piazza Musso and Enzo Kuhn, are really fighting it out, as they did on the Castrol Rally. And both coming from motorsport families. Piazza Musso from a race and rally family, and Enzo Kuhn from a family of rallyists. And in their Class C City Golf, here's a husband and wife team, it's Johnny and Marty Olafia, one of 3 family teams that do exceptionally well in South African rally. In fact, they finish generally in the top 12. There's John and Marty Olafia from Verwoerdburg, there's Ben and Isabel van der Westhuizen from the East Rand, and there's Skalk and Sue Berger in their Toyota, who shine in South African rally. And with 2 stages to go came drama. Enzo Kuhn in the Toyota in 3rd place was out of this rally with mechanical problems. So it was Nissan's 1 and 2, that's Hannes Grobler and Piet Swanepoel, Nuno de Cunha and Paul Rouliard were 2nd, and hurrying through the field was their teammate Jannie Hubig and Douglas Judd. They'd had an off during the night, and they had won every single stage in one of these cars during the afternoon. They were unbeatable as they tore through the field. Sounding like this. Nuno de Cunha had his own problems. He'd been told that Eric Saunders, who'd come up into 3rd position, was just 8 seconds behind and closing. So the pressure was on him too, with a stage and a half to go. Skyline sounding absolutely glorious with its 6-cylinder engine and rear-wheel drive. And the Ben and Isabel van der Westhuizen team going very steadily there in their Class C Toyota, lying 3rd at this stage. But closing up through the field, and he'd been hard at it all day, was Glyn Hall and Martin Botha in their Volkswagen Golf. They were really hurrying along. They got themselves up into 4th position. They were looking for 3rd, and they needed just a little bit of luck to be able to do that. And as they come into view, the adrenaline certainly pumping and over-eager to catch up. They're bound to make mistakes. As they come down towards us, a slight navigational area, you'll see it now. They go slightly left when they should have gone straight. But that's the mistakes in rallying, and these can cost you vital seconds as they hurry along to the finish. We're a big crowd. We're seen at the Green Bushes Pick and Pay just outside Port Elizabeth for the 22nd and final stage. Having a nice cushion, Hannes Grobler and Piet Swanepoel had just to make it to the finish to win this rally. And remembering that Nissan and Jannie Hubig had won the Valvoline Rally in Natal, Toyota and Serge Damson and Vita Bonafide had taken the Volkswagen International Rally in Cape Town, and then Volkswagen had a clean-up in the Castrol Rally with Saul van der Merwe and Frans Boshoff. It was good to see yet another winner, and you can't get it much closer than this or much different than this, with Nissan taking the 4th rally in the season's championship. And Hannes Grobler just thrives on this type of display. Loves to get those tails. That's a 4-wheel drive car. The handbrake turns, and that crisp little 2-litre 16-valve motor really sounding just as good as when they started this rally 600 kilometers ago. Still getting his directions from his Springbok navigator, that's Piet Swanepoel, and remember, they were a race and rally champion in the same year. And it's only a few hundred meters to go to give them victory. As they get it sideways, the crowd were out there cheering away as Hannes Grobler and Piet Swanepoel braked at the final marshalling point. They were over the moon with this victory. And here's the big spectacle the crowds all around South Africa love to see. The big 3-litre Nissan Skyline, 2-wheel drive, the rear wheels are driven. They get them sideways. Nuno de Cunha and Paul Rouliard were in there giving them a great display. It's just a blipping of the throttle, masses of acceleration down to the next corner. Watch them come through here. Tail comes out, There it is in slow motion as they get around, the tail coming around. He starts to straighten the wheels as he powers it on. Can still make mistakes because a car like this with Eric Saunders at the wheel is not far behind him. And from 8 seconds, he got it down to just 3 seconds at the end. And the 1600cc Toyotas have done so well in South African rally. They come home every time. This is the C-class cars, 16-valve engines, and they really have been the mainstay of Toyota's rallying. They do very well in the standing Group N racing as well. So at the moment, it's Hannes Krobler and Nuno de Cunha for Nissan. It was Eric Saunders just 3 seconds behind Nuno de Cunha in the Toyota. And Glyn Hall, what an afternoon he'd had. He was quick during the afternoon, but so was Jannie Hubbeck, who'd won all those stages. Glyn Hall was putting on another show. But the Nissan fans were over the moon with the successes of Hannes Krobler and Piet Swanepoel, as we spoke to Hannes and Piet at the prize giving afterwards.
Eindelijk gouwer gekom as wat ons gedink het en ek hoop dit is definitief nie die laaste maal wat dit gebeur het nie. Ek dink ons behoort vorentoe baie goed te vaar en ek dink dit vir die vervaardigers sal dit baie beteken dat ons ook gewen het.
The driver doesn't always listen, but fortunately we know ourselves very well. And in the end, it all came together, and it's very, very nice to be here again, once again.
Now, Piet, do you have any frightening moments?
I always have frightening moments. So I don't know how these guys keep the cars on the road. I've been doing it for 23 years. How they do it, I don't know, but I love sitting there.
And the motorcar gave no trouble?
The motorcar gave absolutely no trouble. It was actually very, very nice to have a very nice clean run in the long run.
So let's have a look at results of the Volkswagen Algoa Rally. The manufacturer's prize went to Nissan. And in Class A, the only two finishers were the Nissan Sentras of Hannes Krobler and Jannie Hubbeck. Nuno de Cunha took Class B in the Nissan, the big Skyline. Class C was a very happy Eric Saunders and Thilo van Westenhagen in the Toyota. And Ralph Chadwick and Mike Constable going to the head of the rally points table in their colourful Volkswagen Golf.